That's my drink.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Cox-tales podcast, where I have conversation with friends over cocktails. Currently, I am sat with 3 different people. Only one of them's a mic, but we're all kind of drunk. The other 3 are smoking, so they're kind of going to get high, and I have no idea where this conversation is going to go, but we'll go with it. Just for what we're saying, what we're drinking, I mean, the 2 people that are drinking currently, we're drinking Keystone Light. Not really a cocktail, but we're going to go with it.
It's a snack.
There is a question I always start with. I'm going to start with Tyler. Describe yourself in an event.
In an event.
In an event. It can be... That was a phone falling on the floor.
That was my phone. Sorry, guys.
It can be anything. So currently, I've described myself as a women's basketball game. We've had a 400 hurdles race where you fell over the first hurdle and then you made your way back to slightly to the beginning. We've had a Tuesday night Sundance in Fort Collins, which you are from Fort Collins, so you know where that is.
Fuck.
And then...
That's rough. They describe themselves as a Tuesday night on Sunday.
That was Ashlyn. I love Ashlyn, but that is Ashlyn. I can't remember what Colin said. Oh, Colin said he was a concert that you didn't expect to be good, but then it ended up being better than you thought.
Okay, so honestly, guys, I'm a lightweight. So
True.
Day of the week,
True.
I could be pretty drunk, so that does not matter. So
Describe yourself as an event then. What do you think? Are you a bar mitzvah? Are you a Wednesday night, a wine Wednesday? Are you a...
So I say sober me is really quiet, but if you get me drunk, I could turn into maybe a Little John or it could be a change up of Chris Brown too, because I could totally go out and dance my ass off all night.
Oh, that kind of sounds bad, but...
It's a bad mix for sure. Don't get me wrong.
The bad side of Chris Brown was I was thinking, I was like, damn.
Bro, it's Chris Brown dancing in the rain type deal.
Okay.
Killing it. Dramatic.
Yeah.
Dramatic camera scenes.
I got you.
And got it all locked down. But, I mean, you kind of have to be there to see it. So.
That's a fair event. That's a special event, but that's a fair event.
Cool.
Well, Shannon, you're next.
Okay.
Describe yourself in an event.
At an event, honestly.
Not at an event, describe yourself an event.
Metaphorically, what would you describe your life as
an event?
Compared to an event.
Are you a CU football game? Are you a bar mitzvah? Are you a quiet Wednesday night in? What are you?
I feel like it really depends. During the school week, when I have a lot of homework and classwork, I'm very quiet. I'm very into my schoolwork, and then come Friday fucking night.
As in tonight. As we're recording this as 2:24 a.m. Sorry, Jordan next door, if you're awake.
It's 2:24 a.m. So honestly, right now, I would describe myself as maybe Patricia.
The fuck's Patricia?
Is that an event?
Is that an event?
No, it's not an event. It's not.
There's a song called Patricia the Stripper, but...
It's not even a song. Patricia is my drunk alter ego.
Ooh.
You've gone that deep.
Patricia, let me talk. Patricia is
We're not stopping you.
No, I know you're not. I don't know.
Is she a party girl or just
normal me is get my shit done during the week and then...
I was all I'm saying is, if a girl has a drunk alter ego, stay clear of that alter ego.
That alter ego goes hard.
Yeah, that alter ego is mad.
That alter ego, that bitch goes hard.
Afraid, no.
Turn off?
No. Afraid, no. Are they completely different?
I'm not even...
It depends.
I feel like I'm very straight up about everything.
Yeah, generally. But what do you describe yourself as? A wild Friday night as Patricia and a really studious student the rest of the time?
Monday through Thursday. I do not do shit.
Monday through Thursday, you're Judge Judy.
She's hitting the book.
Judge Judy.
That shit's boring as hell, and ain't nobody want to watch
I'm
that shit.
do not do anything outside of reading.
On Friday, you're loving hip hop.
Friday, I like Tohona.
It's time to go out.
Do you guys like Tohona? Did you like Tohona tonight?
Tohona was
I thought he said toner, as in like you know the Friends episode where Phoebe tries to sell toner. It's like, don't hang up on me. I will sell you some toner.
No, but like
She ends up convincing the dude not to kill himself.
That's what I was thinking
They
of.
were
Mad funny.
amazing.
Did you have 2 margaritas
Two
at Tohona?
margaritas. Well, you kind of finished the second one.
I mean, okay.
You helped me.
Story for the podcast. So the first bar we went to,
You're good. You're good. That's
the first bar we went to,
fine.
I bought me and Birthday Boy a drink, and then I ushered you over to the table. A guy who left the table because I sat down left his basically like 3/4, if not fuller, margarita. I took it, gave you some, drank some myself, and he came back over and asked for it back, and I was like, yeah, sure, you can have this. I know he saw us drinking it, but he was like, oh yeah, can I have the back? I was like, yeah, sure, take your drink. Next bar we went to tonight, I was just like, okay, first of all, 7 shots, $54.
You bought 7 shots.
I bought 7 Vegas bombs.
Did you buy
It cost $54.
What did you buy 7 Vegas bombs for?
Us!
You took one.
Wait, where were we at? Where were we at? Like, what was it? Ready, play.
No, I
there we go.
didn't.
Press play.
I like that place.
Yeah, it was a good bar.
Packed, but it was
7 shots though, $54. Fucking hell. But there was a Corona that was like the neck was drunk, the rest of it wasn't drunk. I was like, I'm fucking taking that because I've just paid $54 for this. Don't know if it was drugged or whatever. I'm terrible. I just take drinks.
You should Venmo request me.
For 54, I mean, pay me all you want. I paid $54 for 7 shots.
Venmo request me. Venmo
I mean,
request anyone
that
who
shit
loves
sucks.
Fort Collins is generally cheaper than Boulder, regardless. Like in general, generally cheaper. But $54 I mean, 7 shots on a Friday. Let's say at Bondi, it would have been max 5 a shot, so it would have been $35.
Yeah.
Max
On
plus
Halloween, I
plus
bought-
tip.
I bought 6 whiskey doubles at.
Oh God!
Bondi,
New
and it was
Year's,
$36.
New Year's,
$6 each.
New Year's,
And that's
I
like-
spent. Well, not even a spent. I probably bought 16 shots on New Year's. I think I spent about $40.
That's amazing.
I mean, it used to be cheaper because I knew bartenders places.
Oh, yeah.
I knew a bartender at Rec, and I used to go and buy 40 shots, and it was $15. It was great, but like $54 for 7 shots. I don't know the math, so I'm going to look on my phone right now. But that's ridiculous.
It's $8.
It's $8 per shot.
Yeah.
$8. $8 is a beer-eater at Fuzzy's.
Right?
Like, you can get an entire beer and an entire margarita together for $8. We got a shot.
One shot.
One singular
you
shot.
up? Are you,
That shot? No, not
I don't
really.
even remember
are
the
you
shot,
drunk at all
honestly.
right now?
Am I drunk? Yes. Did that shot contribute? No. I was drunk before we
Scale of 1 to
left.
10, though.
Scale of 1 to 10 right now?
Yeah.
5.
What about you guys?
8.
Oh, I'm pretty low.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a lightweight.
Is that... Okay, you're like...
Tyler?
I was like, did the weed... Like, because I know you guys just smoke. Does that hit anyone yet?
No, I mean,
The weed
That's
kinda
hit
calmed
me.
me down.
But
the weed
I
is
smoke
calming
enough
me
weed.
down.
Yeah.
Wait, you haven't even described yourself as an event yet.
No, I have not gotten the first question.
Pass the mic over. He can hold it.
You got
I don't know if it should be making the audio clearer, but we'll see. Describe yourself as an event.
Okay.
You've had time to think. So.
I would most likely describe myself as like a horror comedy.
I thought you said a whore comedy. I was like, what the fuck's a whore comedy?
Exactly
A horror
what you
comedy.
think it is.
Like, I feel like a lot of those times, those movies are kind of a clusterfuck, but some of them turn out to be okay. Like, I never understood trying to put, like, comedy into a situation that's supposed to be, like, intense and terrifying, but every once in a while it kind of works. So I feel like that's...
Like Shaun of the Dead, kind of like Hot
Exactly.
Fuzz kind of
Yes,
thing.
yeah.
Which is basically just Simon
Yeah.
Pegg, but sure.
Yeah. A zombie land, bro.
Oh,
A horror comedy.
dude, they're supposed to be making a second one of Zombieland.
Oh, I would love it. I would
And-
love that.
I saw it on Twitter today. There's
Honestly, the funniest part in that movie
is
the Bill Murray part.
Yeah, that's what, like, when they go to the Hollywood home.
A zombie and then they fucking... Oh, they kill him.
But so today I saw I think it is a real trailer. They're making a spin-off from the Fast and the Furious franchise where it's Hobbs versus Shaw. So it's The Rock versus Jason Statham from like the latest Fast and Furious.
Oh, that's interesting.
Where they're like, those two are going at it like they're the supposed quote-unquote leaders. No one can see my hands, but I'm doing quotation marks.
Air quotes.
Yeah. So like they're supposed leaders. Apparently that trailer came out like yesterday or like today. Like I saw that trailer and it's like a supposed spin-off from Fast and Furious because they don't want to release the next one yet. Because they've made 8 now, and I think there is a 9th either filmed already or supposedly being currently filmed, but...
Well, and it's hard to, like, decide to continue a franchise after you lose, like, a centerpiece. For them, it's like, do we do a spin-off so we don't have to play into the Paul Walker?
True.
Or do we try to continue a story and write him out? Like, it's like...
All I'm saying is, I don't know if they planned it, but Fast and Furious 3, when they went to Tokyo, and I was like, what the fuck? This has nothing... They were like, this has nothing to do with the story. We don't know. And then it came back, like, what was it, the 6th one that ties like together, or the 7th? And it's just like, oh, shit. I don't think they planned that, because I'm pretty sure it's different directors. They just kind of tied it in.
I think they had...
But the person who tied that in... Jeez. Fucking props to you.
Yeah. Round of applause.
Right? See, what I heard at the time, I think it was Vin Diesel that was wanting more money at the time.
What, after Fast and Furious? Yeah, he wasn't even in Fast and Furious 2, pardon me. Because 2 was Walker and... It's not Tyrese Gibson. What's his name?
Ludacris.
No, it's not Ludacris. It's the other one.
The other guy.
Rock?
No, it's not The Rock. It's before him.
Yeah, what is his name?
I can't remember what his name is, but he's the one who's fucking hilarious. Is it Tyrese Gibson?
No.
He's not the one who flexes his pecs in Longest Yard. That's Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah.
It's not him. Whoever it is in Fast and Furious 2, it's him. But, yeah, it's not him.
I mean, he's in the rest of the franchise.
Yeah, like, because Fast and Furious 3 had no one you'd ever seen before, and then they tie Han back in.
Han, yep.
And then at the end of at the end of Fast and Furious 3, they have Vin Diesel. Yeah. So they have him turn up in like a Camaro or whatever.
Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how we got to... Who cares? Fast and Furious, fucking love that franchise. Did you take off the cover of the mic?
It just flopped off.
You can hold that between you two. I'm hoping it's picking up because this one's sat between me and Tyler and I'm hoping it's picking us up. If not, this is going to be a terrible audio quality, but...
listen to this in the morning and be like,
what the fuck
dude,
is this?
The first podcast I filmed, you know Matt Lane.
Yeah.
Me and Matt Lane drank in an hour. So we spoke about 30 minutes before we started recording. We didn't really have a drink at that point. We poured a drink. In an hour and 42, we finished 3/4 of a bottle of whiskey between us. Me and him. Grant, I mean, I'm short. I'm 5'9", 150 pounds. I got weighed yesterday. 150.8 and I'm 11.1% fat. My sister's the head of nutrition department at CSU. Regardless, but Matt's like 6'4", 210. Like we finished 3/4 of a bottle of whiskey between us in an hour and 40 minutes. Like I was through 1 glass, he was through 3, and then he was driving, so like kind of slow down, and then I drank like another 2 and caught up. First podcast, absolutely hammered. So I'm like, what?
Did you post it?
Oh yeah, that was the first one posted. We reviewed 2018 and then like gave predictions for 2019. But me and Matt can talk about anything. So we spoke about like, me and him both watch a shit ton of YouTube. So we just went on one about like YouTube in 2018 because there was so much to talk about. Like if you're actually into YouTube, like there was so much. And we was like, oh yeah, we could keep going. I was like, I'm going to bring us back to like what I supposedly wrote down like we should talk about. At this point, I have nothing to talk about this one because this is very impromptu. Annie, who I was meant to do a podcast with, is upstairs asleep because she's way too drunk.
Welcome.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Grant, by the way.
Dude, happy fucking birthday, Grant.
It was a good birthday. It was a good night out. This is the best night out I've had in a long time.
It was a good night out.
I mean, it's the first night out since...
fun.
It's the first night out I've had since New Year's.
I think same.
Yeah.
But at New Year's, we chose a bar. We stuck at the bar because the lines for New Year's, we didn't want to leave. It was fucking cold. We didn't want to go. We went different places now. But before New Year's, I probably didn't go out since like October. So it's like my second night out since October 2018. And it's beginning of February 2019?
Yeah.
Like, I messaged one of my friends the other day. He was like, oh, you don't go out anymore? I was like, one, no, I'm broke and I now have to pay for things. I'm a supposed adult, so no. But two, everyone I know, even the people who know at track, don't go out anymore. I ran track at CSU. Everyone I know is, if they're still running track, they're like a super senior. They're like fifth year seniors who redshirted.
Do you want to know what the worst night is?
What?
Freaking the night before Thanksgiving.
Oh,
with
your family, yes. Your family fucking drinks a shit ton, though.
No, not even with my family.
We both have.
Okay.
It's
what was
literally
it?
everybody from Fort Collins, Loveland, Windsor.
No.
Everybody you know is at the bar.
What was it? 2 years ago, when I went out with you the night before Thanksgiving. You, your brother, your father. We started at Fuzzy's. We went to Zwei. We ended up back at your house.
I don't recall.
Like, we drove past like a police chase on the way to the liquor store, on the way back to your house. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was
That just explains your family. Like, your family just drinks.
The
like,
Lanzas. Oh,
the Lanzas, like,
they sell.
I mean, I don't call them Lanas very much, except your parents. Shannon and Eric, I call Lanas because of Jess Green.
Yeah.
It's just a thing that happened at CSU, but your family drinking is dangerous. Like, your parents almost made me throw up at the Rocky Mountain Showdown.
At least your family is like fun drunk.
Oh,
like,
they're fucking incredible.
My dad would come home drunk and just like break things, which is not nearly as fun.
Oh, hell no.
Like,
so
if you get to enjoy the experience, then it's like I feel like it's a totally different ball.
my mum doesn't drink. My mum's drank one night in her life, I think. She was part of like she was part of like a band basically, and I think they toured like Belgium. Like, she was part of the Big Piece band. She drank one night, got really drunk, and was like, nah, I don't want to do this again. So since then, which I think at that point she was like 18, she's just drunk Diet Coke from then. I mean, granted, she probably drinks 3 Diet Cokes a day, like minimum.
Everybody has
which is terrible. But like, yeah, she doesn't drink, and my dad drinks, but drinks minimally. I mean, I haven't seen him in a while. He lives in Australia, so I don't know. But like, he doesn't go out and take shots. Like, he's not that kind of guy. He'll drink 3 glasses of wine or a bottle of wine.
I think the most dangerous thing is like when you lose like the social aspect of drinking, and you can just do it by yourself to like escape your own, like. Once you became like,
I did that for a while.
When you get to the point where you can drink alone, that's when you know, like, that's danger approaching.
It wasn't sophomore year, because sophomore year I still roomed with track guys, and we would have people over 2 or 3 nights a week. So drinking alone, it wasn't really anything like, we'll just have a beer.
Oh yeah,
like, we'll have a beer each.
At least I'm with my friends.
Yeah,
you know?
but junior year, lived in a different apartment. We were like 3 miles away from pretty much anything happening. I'd sit in my room. My roommate was part of the frat. Right. Well, actually, no, both of my roommates, both guys, were part of different fraternities. One of them I didn't really speak to, but when he came home, he just kind of went to his room and sat there. Nothing against him. Really nice guy. He just came and sat there. The one who I was close with, I lived with him for 3 of the 4 years. But he like went out to fraternity stuff, came back. But it was like fall semester 20... Wait, what is it now? 2019?
Yep.
Maybe like 2017, maybe 2016, don't know whatever year it was. Whatever my junior year was. I would buy a 30 rack every weekend, finish it by myself, basically. It would be a Tuesday night, I'm like, I've got nothing to do. I'd go drink 6 beers. Wouldn't feel the slightest buzz, because I drank that much at the time. I'd be like, I'll just drink 6 beers. I used to stack the cans on my desk. So it's like make a pyramid of cans, like to 6. And then like, we'll put them in the trash now because I can't make a pyramid taller. I'm not bothered. Next day, form another like pyramid. I'll drink 6 more. Like, go. It was, I was unknowingly Fuck. Shannon, I'm really sorry. I just spilled a lot of beer on your couch. And it's sinking into my butt. It's terrible. The mic fell down. I don't know if it heard that. The mic's somewhere here, and I'm really hoping it's not wet. Where's the mic? Mike, come back to me. Mike, where are you?
This podcast is gonna
Oh no, honestly.
We're all gonna listen to it.
The podcast is literally just supposed...
Sounds dumb.
It's supposed to talk about random shit. It's the whole point of the podcast. That's what podcasts are, though. Have you ever listened to Joe Rogan? Granted, he brings on people that have a lot to talk about. So he brings on Neil deGrasse Tyson. He brings on MMA champions. He brings on doctors. So kind of know what you're going to talk about. You kind of know, like, I'm going to go talk to them about MMA. I'm going to go talk to them about intermittent fasting because that's what they specialize in. Like, that's what they talk about. But you just go with whatever the fuck that people say. Like he brings on his comedian friends because he grew up as a comedian. That's how he made his name. Joe Rogan was a comedian. This brought up in Matt's podcast. He made something like last year, I don't want to say the wrong number, something billion downloads, I think is what Matt said. Mm-hmm. Something billion downloads for a podcast. Think about how much money that is. And he live streams every single episode on YouTube, which minimum probably gets 500,000 views. Minimum. But like the one so he did 1 hour and 27 minutes with Mike Tyson like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that was incredible.
Yeah. That's one of his shortest podcasts like he's ever probably done. Like not his normal ones, like Neil deGrasse Tyson's like 4 hours for one of them. Like they can just talk because they just talk about space, and Joe Rogan's just like, explain. I don't understand. My mind's blown. 1 hour and 27. I think in like the first 24 hours, it had like 4 million views, if not more. Like, it's ridiculous. Podcasts is there to talk about because yes, there's interesting people, but also because people just want to hear people talk and talk about random stuff. And I mean, high and drunk people just talk about crazy stuff, so we can just talk about whatever. I don't care what my podcast is. I've like over the first 3 podcasts, I think I've had 45 streams.
I think a lot of the point of listening to podcasts too is just to like escape your everyday normal shit. So it's not always like how much quality the content has. But it's just
hell
like
no.
How well you can relate to it, and
that's why
if you feel like you're in the conversation, that's when it's like that's when it feels different.
That's why I kind of want to bring on. That's why I wanted Ali. Because she's very talented, she has a beautiful voice. She's a very talented singer. And I wanted to bring on someone artsy for this episode to basically just speak about how, like, it is to have a talent. Like, she's unbelievably talented, basically. Like, you can back me up. Like, she has a great voice. I don't know if you two have heard it, but Shannon came out like Shannon, like
voice of an angel.
Yeah, she has an unbelievable voice, and I wanted to talk to her about singing. And I want to talk a lot about that. So I have my sister-in-law, who I live with, is a almost PhD nutritionist. She got interviewed by Men's Health the other week about intermittent fasting. Like, she's a very I say high pro. She's a very knowledgeable nutritionist. I have someone who's a neuroscientist, probably the best way to put it, who's a friend, who's done 2 summers out in California at USC, got accepted there, and then denied it because she wanted to focus on herself, but she knows a lot about neuroscience. My brother's a very heavy, like, soccer coach, knows a lot about coaching techniques, has met with Tom Hilbert, who's the coach at CSU Volleyball, who's been there for 22 years, and we've made the NCAA tournament 19 years in a row, whatever it is. Like, there's people I want to talk to that are very specific of, I want to talk to you about coaching, like, I want people to listen to this. But I also, like, people don't always, if you're not interested in coaching, you're not going to listen to a thing about coaching. Generally. Like, you're not going to click on it if it says, this is about coaching. Like, you're not going to listen to it.
I feel like that depends on how well they can, like, curate and create content, though, too.
Well, yeah, but, like, I don't have a following, so it's not like I'm going to get people listening regardless, and then they might find it interesting. So it's like, if I want people to listen to this...
You're curating your content before, yeah.
I'm choosing people that, like, people might be interested in this. Like, nutritional advice, I think a lot of people would listen to.
Yeah.
Like my sister-in-law, like people, like there is so much, like how many Instagram pages, like, oh, follow me, follow this nutritional plan, follow this, follow that, and that kind of stuff. It's like, how much of that is actually true? Like, is that real? Is that not?
Yeah, that's definitely...
Like that's why I wanted, like, I don't want to get her on right away, because it's a kind of a heavy topic, I feel. Like, you kind of want to be ready for that, and people know what's kind of coming. Shannon's just falling asleep on the side, and she's smiling because I just said that.
I'm not.
Good night, Shannon.
I'm listening.
Oh, sure.
Oh.
She's listening.
I am.
And then Tyler, I know Tyler's awake because he keeps moving his arm, but Tyler's eyes show shut anyway. Tyler, what's your favourite thing to talk about?
I'm listening.
What's your favorite thing to talk about?
Favorite thing to talk about?
Controversial. Top 5 rappers right now.
Top 5 rappers.
Right now. Not on like discography or whatever, but what they've released currently in 2019.
That's kind of tough because like not much.
Or late 2018 then.
Okay. So J. Cole, obviously. I want to go Drake because that's just I gotta go Drake for me.
I mean, Drake's Drake. I mean, I don't think anyone would hate you for saying that. I mean, some people might, but it's Drake. Like,
Right.
You're gonna get hate or props regardless.
I don't know if you guys heard of this guy, but J-Rock, he's pretty dope. He dropped an album like in October, so that's pretty good.
That's late 2018.
Tough. Cause I've been listening to really like R&B lately.
Give us some.
Give you some, but it's like 90s R&B. So like
People these days do not listen to that. Give us some.
That's true. So like Erica Badu.
Why do I know that name? She got a really big song.
She's pretty dope. I don't know. She's kind of like my girl crush too. But
Well, do you have a boy
That
crush?
just
That certainly sounded like you
Shannon.
had a boy
I
crush.
don't know, but
girl crush.
Girl
My
crush.
girl crush?
Your girl crush right now. Number 1. Who is it?
I don't even know.
Do you have one? I mean, you can say I don't have one, but
J-Lo.
Oh, that's a great girl crush.
J-Lo's are just a stand.
That's-
Like, I'll never disagree with that.
That's a great girl crush.
J-Lo, you can never go wrong with that. 60-year-old J-Lo, can't go wrong with it.
How fucking old is she? I'm gonna look that up.
She's like 53.
I was like, so what do you?
Yeah.
How much have you seen Oceans like 11, 12, 13 kind of thing? What do you think the age difference is between George Clooney and Brad Pitt?
Probably like 12 years.
1.
Really?
George Clooney is older by 1 single year. I don't know if it's like a whole year, but whenever I look at the birthdays, George Clooney is 1 year older than Brad
George
Pitt.
Clooney looks like
They're both, I think George Clooney at the point's like 55, 56. Brad Pitt's like 54, 55, like right now. Like, that's the difference.
that's actually.
You look at them in
They
Ocean.
both, as far as white people go, they've both aged wonderfully.
Both good looking.
Well, yeah, because George Clooney's been a silver fox since he was like 20.
Exactly.
Yeah.
but
But
you,
white people age like milk.
oh, yeah. Black don't crack. I'm jealous. I spoke to Tyler about this earlier before we went out. Like, the 2 people I'd want to be, if I could be any person, like any male in life, Will Smith or Justin Timberlake.
Those are dope. Both definitely
Why?
respectable.
Both musically talented, both can act, both... What else did I say? There was something else. Both have great lives, I mean. Look at them. They're both
I mean,
attractive.
they're great people.
Will Smith
Yeah.
is confident. I mean,
Yeah, like, can you go wrong with those 2? Like... So, I mean, Will Smith hasn't done the Super Bowl and JT has, but it's mainly as Will Smith. Like,
Will
I want to
Smith
be the Fresh
also
Prince.
didn't pick up his Oscar just because that's the kind of person he is. So I don't... If they even offered him the Super Bowl, I'm not sure he would have ever taken it.
If you offered him and Jazzy Jeff, I think he would consider it. I don't know. I would hope he would consider it. Like, him and Jazzy Jeff, if they just came out with a Fresh Prince and then they came out with like Summertime, whatever the song is.
Yep.
Like, if they came out of that, I'd love that as a Super Bowl. Like, it's not going to happen as a Super Bowl, but if they did that, I'd love it. I got J-Lo here. How would you? J-Lo's 49.
49.
God
She's 49.
damn, that woman, though, for 49.
She's 49.
Freezing down here.
I just had to wrap
Going
up.
to bed.
Good night, Shannon.
Night, Shannon.
Good night.
You guys are welcome to come up.
I mean, that sounds weird because we're recording right now, but sure.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to be a good hostess.
We are at Shannon's house. It's not just Shannon's, so shout out to Ali McKenna, who, where the fuck did she go tonight? And Jordan. But Shannon is the last one to go to bed, and this was an impromptu podcast, so good night, Shannon.
Good night.
Good night.
Don't know what we're going to talk about now. Now we can talk about hot women. Actually, I'm going to ask that just straight
My
up.
question for you,
Ooh,
Mr.
go.
Host of
Go for it.
said podcast.
I just kept my mic down.
Your top 5 hip hop artists.
Of like, ooh.
Because I myself am a huge hip hop fan. Dating from the late 80s to now.
I'm going to have to...
Like, everything I could.
I'm going to have to look up of when... Because I said like late 2018, I'm going to look up when Logic's album was released.
I'll take Logic. I will definitely
Okay,
take Logic.
so I'll accept Logic, or you'll accept Logic. I'll say Logic. Late 2018, early 2019. I'm sorry if I touched the mic then. I think I did. It probably made some noise. But sorry, you're going to have to deal with it. This isn't a professional podcast. So Logic's one. Who else has released recently? Who has released recently? Seriously, like, has anyone released in 2019? It's been a month. Has anyone released anything? Like, actual album or anything?
I mean, the most recent things I could think of were like Future Hendrix.
Okay.
I
I did enjoy that album. I'll give Future props. I'll put Future in there. For like, I said 2018, end of 2018, 2019. I'll put Future in there. That was a good album. I did enjoy that. So you got Future, Logic. Who else was the end of 2018? I can't even think who released anything. Who have I been listening to? That's hip hop. AK.
Okay.
You know who that is? The guy who... I won't play it on the podcast because I'll probably get copyrighted. Not that I make money off this, but I don't want to get copyrighted regardless. He's originally when he copied Panda, he was like 16.
Oh, that's
He was the Panda remix that blew up.
right.
I'll play you after this. Like, AK came out with some stuff in the end of 2018. I'll put AK up there. He's a hell of a lyricist for what he's done and how young he is. I know NF wasn't the end of 2018. I still love NF. I found NF before his most recent album when he kind of blew up with Let You Down.
Right.
Was the song that blew up. I went back to England like a year and a half ago, just after that album came out, and it was blowing up on the radio in England. And it was just like, this song. I asked my sister, she had it on a playlist, and she was like, I was like, what? Who sings this? She was like, I don't know. I was just like, well, I've listened to his first 2 albums. I know exactly who he is. It's NF. It's Let You Down. It's on the album Perception. Like, I've listened to all of this. So it's not late 2018, but I still love NF. Who have I said? NF, Logic, Future. Who else has come out with stuff? Travis.
Yeah, I'll take
Astroworld was a good album. Astroworld was a good album for the end of 20. Like, this isn't the whole of 20. This is just the end of 2018. I'm gonna have to look through my Spotify because I have no idea who I've even been listening to because I generally just click shuffle on my entire Spotify, which just makes it even harder. Does it show recently? It does show recently. Ed Sheeran, not really a rapper. Oasis, not a rapper. Futuristic was just tonight. Let's look on Rap Caviar. Who's come out with stuff? J. Cole. Did enjoy Middle Child. It's a good song.
Yeah,
I haven't listened to the rest of the stuff yet, so Meek's album was good.
yeah. Dream Chasers 3. I listened to it a little bit. I definitely gave it a run through.
Meek's album might be out there because I can't think of anything. I'm looking through stuff. Like, XXX Tentacion's on here, and I was like, I mean, rest in peace, he's dead, but like, he hasn't released anything.
They actually just released some
I hate the fact that people do that.
Mortem music.
Like, the fact that post-mortem Michael Jackson's still coming out. Yeah, like, yeah, he's a god. There's probably unreleased tracks, but don't make stuff out of it kind of like thing.
Yeah, it's strange.
Like, you shouldn't get... Like, if you film stuff before you die, like Heath Ledger for Dark Knight.
Right?
Yes, get a posthumous medal. Because you basically filmed the entire... Like, Paul Walker, like, we went through Paul Walker earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of, like, CGI'd the last, like, 2 or 3 scenes with him and his brother, and like, they got together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's acceptable. Don't release an entire song or album from Michael Jackson or Tentacion or whatever, like, after they're dead. The amount of Michael Jackson songs that like come out since, or like Tupac.
Yeah, that's...
Like, I know they record that many, and they
Tupac's
haven't...
family has done a good job of not...
Unreleased ones, I would say I'm not mad about. Because like, even Logic in his albums is just like, I've recorded 2,000 plus songs, and I've released like 100.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, fair enough. Release some of the post ones, make some money.
It's B-roll.
Yeah, it's just
B-sides. It's what doesn't make it, but they still like.
Go and make some money. But
You guys,
what, Shannon?
did I bring my phone home? I know I did because I saw it like 2 minutes.
I was like, you asked when you got
It's
home.
supposed to be right here.
It's right there.
All right.
Actually, I'm gonna put a Cardi B in there.
Who was that?
Cardi B.
I don't mind that.
It was a decent album. I don't know when. I can't remember when it was in 2018.
She
but
had a great...
it was like
2018
she blew up,
regardless.
so I'm gonna put her in there. I'm pretty sure Tyler's
I don't
fallen
mind
asleep.
that at
He
all.
might be listening, but nope, he's definitely asleep. It's down to us 2. We started with 4. We're down to 2. It's the survival of the fittest. I like the fact that like you guys started smoking. Like, you smoked once, and since then it's just gone.
Yeah, weed tolerance is a fickle game, honestly, especially when you've been drinking.
Well, and like, so normally
thing too.
these podcasts are, the shortest one I've done is like an hour and 20. We're at like 37 minutes, 38 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I could keep talking for hours. Like, what do we want to talk about? Give me a topic. You ask a question, I'll ask another. Anything.
Well, it's Super Bowl weekend. What's your take on the Super Bowl? Who do you think's gonna win? Do you think this is the beginning of the fall for Belichick and Brady, or
Beginning of the fall start before this, in my opinion.
I probably agree with that, honestly. I mean, they've had
Just because of the
in all-
fallout, like Brady and his coach, like his coach whoever got banned from the sideline, all of that. Like that's when the beginning of the end started. Doesn't mean that we're going to be bad after that. Clearly, they're in the Super Bowl again. But I think that's when like the beginning of the end started. Because yeah, Brady said he wants to live to 45. Jesus Christ. I hope he lives to 45. Played till 45. I don't think he will move before then. And I don't think Belichick would unless Kyler Murray suddenly grows 5 inches and becomes a 6'2" quarterback, I don't think like Belichick would like trade him for anything.
I don't.
Even if they don't get along, they work with each other well, they know each other, they understand, they know what's going to happen. So I don't think they would trade. So I don't think that's going to change.
So do you think they're repeaters? They lost last year. Do they take it this year?
My brother told me something earlier. Is like it was Saban and Belichick always go the opposite. Like historically, apparently they've always gone the opposite. So last year, Saban won, Belichick lost. This year, Saban lost, so supposedly Belichick's going to win. Apparently, it goes through all of their like titles. That's what's happened.
That's really interesting. I wonder, yeah.
I mean, my brother is a coach, and he follows a lot of sports people, so I wouldn't be surprised. I guarantee it's. I don't guarantee, but it's probably true. Like, that's probably what's happened. But do I think they're going to beat them? I really hope not. My favorite thing I saw recently was like they were like comparing running backs through the playoffs. And Todd Gurley replied to them and basically said, "Oh yeah, I forgot I had a 100-yard rushing game against Dallas."
Right.
Because they were like saying, "Oh, he had." I know. I'm pretty sure he knows. He had like 2 touchdowns, but he had basically like 40 total yards against like the Eagles and who did they play last? The Bears? No. Eagles beat the Bears. Whoever they played. Saints.
Yep.
So like he basically had like no yards given. I'm pretty sure he knows that. He knows he didn't play well, but he had like 2 touchdowns, like 40 total yards or whatever. But he had the 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns, whatever it was. He was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot I had this 100-yard rushing game against Dallas." I was like, I mean, fair enough. But my issue is, do I trust Goff and Gurley over Brady and... I mean...
It's really Brady.
You can't... you can't really trust Michelle because he's a rookie. And he's basically their main right.
Incredible.
I mean, he was incredible at Georgia. Like, that's who he is. But can you trust him over that? No. Can you trust Brady and Belichick? I mean, you're like, you're pretty sure they're going to put up minimum, what, like 30 points?
That's the one question.
Wait, what's the line right now? I'm going to look it up. What's it on ESPN? Because I haven't seen. I don't know what the line's at. I'm guessing Patriots are favored.
Yeah, they're definitely favored.
But I don't know what it's at. Let's look. Where is it? It's where is it? The -2.5 to Patriots. And this is on the, I mean, technically right now, early Saturday morning, but Friday night.
Right.
Because no one's awake right now. I don't think that's a bad line.
No, and the interesting thing about the matchup is historically teams that can get inside pressure on Brady and force him out of the pocket have success. And especially when you have...
I know it's their D-line's supposedly incredible.
But
and I mean,
it's so hard to bet against the Patriots.
But you look against the D-line, what they get against Brady. I swear they didn't even touch him.
He doesn't. He has some of the best protection in the league.
But against Donald, Sue, Fowler, and whoever the other guy is, plus the replacements, like, you better get towards him. At least
they don't have a chance.
Once.
Yeah.
And they didn't. I mean, they still won the game, so props to them. Like, they must have done enough. But how do you not... Like, that... I mean, Donald was, like, potentially defensive MVP with how many sacks has an interior lineman. And then it came to the supposed best and best teams. They played... They didn't play first round, did they? Because they got a bye. It was Bears, Eagles, and Cowboys. Whoever the fuck they played. Who did the Cowboys play first? Slash some Seahawks?
Yep, they did, yeah. And they beat the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Surprising, I don't know. And
so
then the game everybody wanted to repeat, the Patriots Chiefs for the AFC Championship.
And I mean, if they had Hunt, I think Chiefs win. Regardless.
It's just another weapon they have.
I mean, I know Hunt did a terrible thing. I don't think it's as bad as the headline made it to be on TMZ.
I agree.
Because the headline was like, he brutalized a woman. He kicked her like once and pushed her over. And if she's drunk, if you push a drunk girl, no offense, they generally fall over. Like, I may get hate for that, but
too. Like,
who? Like, Chiefs to let go. I don't know who's going to take him though.
But there's gonna
who doesn't care about public image enough that they'll take him?
Oh, there's plenty of teams. The Raiders.
You think the Raiders would take him? You think Gruden would take him? Not the Raiders, it's Gruden. Do you think Gruden would take them? Or him?
If you get that talent and you can get it for cheap, I don't see why you...
Because I don't want them to take a quarterback this year. He signed a 10-year deal. I want him to like take this as another. We'll take a couple of defensive players, or whatever, make our O-line great, and next year when Murray's available, whatever, or Lawrence is available, like wherever those are, like say for then to the actual quarterbacks that could make your franchise and your team. I want him to do that. I have no idea if he will. He's a smart guy, and they hired the head of NFL analytics for ESPN as their GM, so I hope they do that kind of thing. No idea if they will, but
they've made interesting moves.
I don't mind it though, because I was like, they're so bad. Like, yeah, but if you got signed to a 10-year deal, guarantee he has 3 years minimum. Do whatever you want, no like lashback. Right. If you sign him for a 10-year, you can't say, if you lose your first year, you're done. You've signed him for a 10-year contract.
Yeah.
Like, you have to give him something. Like,
that money, yeah.
Minimum 4 to 5 years. Minimum. Like,
at least try.
Rebuild us. Do whatever you want. Like, he got rid of...
Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, it's a terrible deal. But yeah, but look how many first-round picks. If he comes back and builds a team, which they can now potentially do, if in the next 4 or 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a Super Bowl or like what are they, AFC?
Yep.
AFC Championship game. Wouldn't be surprised. Will they be consistently there? No idea. I mean, the only person who's consistently been there, Patriots.
Yeah.
It's the only person who's consistently been there, really. Steelers have been around. Chiefs last couple of years have been playoffs, but they haven't won a playoff game.
The only NFC team to go back-to-back in the last 20 years, back-to-back Super Bowls, was
Saints?
The Seahawks.
Seahawks? Oh, yeah.
They lost they won the first one.
I still think the NFC is harder than the AFC.
It's much more competitive. I mean, it shows.
Like, you look at the NFC North this year, I know Packers weren't great, but they weren't terrible. Lions weren't great, but they weren't terrible. Vikings weren't great, but they were better than the other two, but still weren't terrible. And then you had the Bears. In the West, you had the Rams and the Seahawks. Both made playoffs. In the South, Carolina weren't essentially great. Still weren't terrible. But then you had the Saints. And the year before, the Falcons weren't bad. This year, I mean, the Falcons weren't great. But the NFC in the last couple of years have been... I know they haven't always won the Super Bowl, but they've been the hardest one to get to the playoffs.
It's definitely been more competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Vikings fan, so I follow the North, and the North's been brutal the last couple of years.
It showed over, the last 15 to 20 years. It's been a slew of different teams. The 49ers, the Seahawks, Green Bay.
When you look at the 49ers now. Shout out to Green Bay, though. Just signed the CSU wide receivers coach, Elvis Whitted. Lovely guy, lovely wife, lovely child. Wish the best to him. He's done unreal things with our receivers. Get
Aaron Rodgers some help.
As every receiver that left CSU who's now in the NFL has said, Higgins, Gallup, potentially Preston Williams and Olabisi Johnson this year. He's worked wonders. The last couple of years, we haven't been god-awful. We haven't been great, I'll be honest. And he's done wonders with our wide receivers. Exactly. CSU, not a Power 5, and yet he's still brought in people who have been essentially first-round picks. Gallup was is Gallup first round? Second round? Top at least 3 round picks. Higgins might have been third, maybe lower, but he should have been higher. That year was supposedly stacked with the wide receivers, but he's the only one that's stayed at the Browns.
Receivers is not a lot of people in the
He was the fourth or fifth pick by the Browns as a wide receiver, and he's the number 3 now.
Yeah, a lot of great wide receivers are going to go in later rounds because teams aren't willing to pay.
That was the year that I think the Browns picked at least 4 wide receivers, and Higgins was at least fourth, I think. Like, Corey Coleman was like their first from, about the point, was that Baylor he came from, I think, or TCU? And like, Higgins is, I don't want to say that, I feel like he's now like the third, like, pick. Like, I feel like Mayfield has a great relationship with him. Like, they like each other and they just go around, and he seems to has decent like targets and stuff and receptions this year. Like, Higgins is up there. Behind, like, Landry's number one for them, obviously. Maybe Njoku, like, number 2, whatever. I think that's their tight end. I hope so. If not, sorry. But then, like, Higgins, like, 3 or 4 for, like, their wide receivers. And he was, like, the 4th pick in his draft class of wide receivers. Right. Not, like, 4th pick for the team. He was, like, 4th in wide receivers.
Yeah.
And everyone else has either got injured or fallen behind him or been traded or whatever. It was... He's worked hard, and I mean that was Sweathead. He was a genius coach for CSU. I'm sad he's gone because I don't know what our wide receivers are going to look like now. I still have faith, always will, but God, I hope it's better than last year.
Right? Yeah, it's tough because you want to root for your little hometown college, but you just realize, like...
Well, it's not even hometown. I just came here, but...
But, I mean, you live there now.
Yeah.
So it is.
But even, like, yeah,
it's adopted hometown.
CU were hating on us at the beginning of the year. They started 5-0 and then did 5-7.
Right.
Like, yeah, you should have started 5-0. We might have played a harder non-conference schedule than you did. And we played Florida... Arkansas ended up to be like potentially the worst team in like NCAA. Like, Arkansas were not good, and then we played like at the time a ranked FCS team, CU and who else did we play? Florida, CU, Illinois State, Arkansas. Oh yeah, so there are 4 pre-conference. So we started like 1-3 or whatever. There was like, yeah, you started 5-0, but you ended 5-7. You lost like a 20-something point lead against, or a high teens lead against Oregon State, who the year before we smacked at home in our opening game. And you lost like a 20-point lead and then lost in overtime after they missed a field goal to like win it. It's like, CU started great this year, did not end well. I think I was here for their last home win. It was against ASU.
Which, they're not at all known for football.
I mean, they haven't been terrible, but yeah, they're not known for it. But I was in this house for that. It was the CU homecoming, and I went to the game. It was a good game. It was a close game, and CU pulled it out. And I think that moved them to 5-0. But after that, I think they lost every single game.
Yeah, it's college. I mean, like, growing up in Colorado, I've lived here since I was 9. So
where did you live? What area?
Loveland, Fort Collins, my whole life. So, well, since I was 9, I guess. And before that, I came from Vegas, and I was born in California. So I'm West Coast kid, kind of just transplanted to Colorado. But you always wanted to like adopt the Colorado teams, but
not good enough.
It's so. I mean, they just don't get the recruiting power. They're not going to get the talent.
Pac-12 did.
Yeah, that definitely...
Is McIntyre actually now gone?
What?
CU's head coach for football. Is he gone?
I'm not sure.
Did McIntyre go? I can't remember. Like, he brought in recruiting power. Like, CU was getting Pac-12 good recruits. It wasn't like the old CU where you won like maybe one conference game a year. He was bringing in people. He was bringing in talent.
Yeah. And I think it was definitely a smart move for them. I don't know how that's playing out now.
He's gone somewhere. I can't remember where it is.
They had to, at some point, like, adopt another girls' sport at CU, and I don't think they've done that yet. So
still? For like Title IX?
Yeah, yep.
I just looked up Michael McIntyre, who's a comedian in England. Is that not his name? Who is CU's head coach? I'm looking it up. CU football. Ooh, I didn't put a space. Well, like, CSU didn't hire him as a coach, but So our like stadium naming rights, we got Canvas Credit Union, who was previously Public Service Credit Union. But like their head of like on-campus activation is Sonny Lubic's son, Matt Lubick, who was the quarterbacks and something coordinator or coach at Washington.
Okay, that's interesting.
So he just was at the Rose Bowl.
Right.
And he's taken a whatever pay cut to come to CSU to be the head of activation for our stadium naming rights deal, basically. And I don't, it hasn't been publicized massively. I don't know how many people it's been publicized. People know. I don't know how much it's been publicized and how much people know, but I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah, it seems like you'd almost not in the.
You just went to school, you were like a quarterback, like wide receivers, whatever you're a coach at Washington, who just went to the Rose Bowl, and then you've become like a coordinator or like activation person at CSU. Seems off, but
you want to change the program, I guess. I really don't know.
CSU's head coach is now Mel Tucker, who was the defensive coordinator. Oh, that's who it is. He was the defensive coordinator and secondary coach for Georgia for the last 3 years.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's who you hired. You hired a defensive. I don't know if you're a CU guy, but you hired a defensive coach, which Georgia's defense for the last 3 years has been sick. So, but again, like CSU hired Bobo. He's a ex-Georgia quarterbacks coach. It's a Colorado team have hired a Georgia-based coach who has his roots tied around the area, who will probably try and recruit around the area, rather than trying to steal people from Nevada, Arizona, California, Washington, all of those areas, like the West Coast.
And that's Colorado, like, going through athletics in high school, you're not gonna get recruited by a lot of these big schools unless you're super special.
Oh, I know. So my old roommate won state champs, who was 4A in Colorado, which is the second highest.
Right.
And his old quarterback. Did you see like the video where Jared Goff pretended to be like a transfer quarterback?
Yeah, I did see.
So the quarterback that was for that starting JUCO was my roommate's old quarterback at high school.
Oh, that's interesting.
So he saw him like that's kind of level like they were like he had like a friend or two go to like Wisconsin on like Nebraska,
right? Yeah.
Like, but they don't go Alabama, they don't go Miami, they don't go FSU, they don't go USC, Washington,
UCLA. Yeah.
People from Colorado generally just don't.
You're gonna end up usually in the Midwest, if you're lucky.
Well, like you might end up CU, you might end up U of U. There is, I mean, who else do you, I mean, they're the closest Pac-12 ones, which is the biggest schools. Unless, like a Nebraska or Wisconsin picks you up, or you really like, Iowa, or like something. You really like a CU, a CSU, or a, like, I don't know, San Diego State, Fresno State, they've been bad, like a Boise, like potentially, like maybe if you really like the coach and you want to go play there, maybe. Well, it's not a massive recruiting area, particularly Colorado, especially for football. I think particularly for anything. We have decent track people, but shout out Mary Beth, CSU.
Definitely, we definitely get some track talent. Adams State, I know, running at elevation, those kids, they kill it as far as their nationals go.
We're still better, as in CSU. We didn't perform well at conference and we were picked to win, but we still finished. Fuck, where did we finish? We finished top 20 national for Cross Crunchy. Mary Beth was number 1 in the NCAA, number 2 in the world. I think she's now number 3 in the NCAA for the 60. We lost Mustafa, who was a hell of a beast shot putter, but we like have a hammer thrower who's up there. I think we have something like 20 people in the top 75 in the nation for like their event. For a non-Power 5 school,
Yeah.
in the mountains.
Yeah.
Not a terribly big school, not a terribly big budget, but no, we've done decent.
And that's what you can hope for as far as being a fan of CSU athletics, at least, is just.
I'm like this coming Wednesday the 6th of February 2019, we played Nevada at home, men's basketball.
Nice.
Who currently, before the next rankings come out, are number 8 in the nation. I'm hoping it's packed. Yeah, our student base and like fan base in general, I'm not proud of. They don't always show up. I go to everything. I mean, I work hard for them, so I have to be there. I'm not working that game currently, so I'm going to be there regardless. But I'm really hoping it's packed because I don't know what the results were elsewhere, but I hope they've moved up to at least like number 7 or something. I really hope we're back. Like a number 17 in the nation. Last time in any sport that we played in on that high, Illinois may have been that high when we played them in volleyball this year, which this year we were one of 7 teams that had over 7,000 people for a single game of volleyball in the nation. But before that would have been Wisconsin in 2014 or something. It was the last time we had, I think, like over like 7.7 thousand people in Moby. Potentially we did when we hit buzzer beaters against San Diego State and Wyoming in 2016 or whatever it was,
right.
But
honestly,
our fans don't turn up unless we do good, which sucks to me.
It's strange to me that they don't have more of a following, because it's not as if there's like much better things going on in Fort Collins. And I've been to a couple of the CSU basketball games specifically.
We now sell beer at Moby as well.
And it's fun.
We now sell beer.
They did a great job of like making it entertaining.
Thank you, because that's partly my job.
No, it feels professional and it's entertaining. It does surprise me that it doesn't have more of a following, just because, I mean, it's not like Fort Collins is what, during the peak of the school year, like 90,000 people in population. There's
Hell
not
no.
a lot going on.
It's like 160,000.
Is it now?
Yeah. It's the 4th biggest town in Colorado. Not joking. It's bigger than Boulder.
I mean,
it goes, as far as I know, it goes Denver, Springs, Aurora, Fort Collins.
it's interesting.
Like, it's that big. I'll look at it right now, but I'm pretty sure that's the order it goes. Colorado, biggest cities. Yeah, we'll go with that. Denver, Colorado Springs. Wait, hang on. 2019 population review. There we go. Because it's like Boulder is not 3rd. I know that. Denver, about 732. This is just considering Denver. I had this argument earlier. It's not including Aurora. It's not including Centennial. It's not including.
That's one.
It's Denver.
Yeah.
So Denver, Colorado Springs, Fort Collins is apparently now 3rd. And then Lakewood, Centennial, Pueblo.
That's wild. Wow.
Oh no, here you go. 2019 Pueblo. Yeah, so Aurora is 3rd. Denver, Colorado Springs, Aurora, Fort Collins, Lakewood, Thornton, Arvada, Westminster, Pueblo, Greeley, Centennial, Boulder, Longmont, Loveland, Broomfield, etc., etc. So yeah, Boulder's 109,000. Fort Collins is 171.
Wow. I didn't expect to be that high. That's pretty wild.
Fort Collins is big. So when I came, I thought Fort Collins was around 150. With students. So 2014.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So with students, I expected around 20 or like 150. Which probably wasn't far off at the time.
Yeah, no, not at all. What's crazy is, like, I feel like Boulder has so much, like, much better infrastructure. And our population is that much larger now. It's.
Do you class roads as infrastructure? Because I think Fort Collins has better roads, like to deal with traffic.
Yeah.
Just because Fort Collins is way more of a obvious grid.
Oh, definitely.
Like where you could go across and up rather than take this diagonal, take this right, take this left, and you're there.
Yeah.
Because from like Boulder, you have the massive diagonal from, what is it, just south of Longmont, 119?
Yeah.
It comes in.
The diagonal highway.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Like that, and Boulder's, you have, at least downtown, it's fairly straight, but outside of that, it's a little more curvy than most American cities, I'd say.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Or at least big American cities. Because I'm from England, so everything for me is just, we don't really have straight roads very often. But
yeah, I think they definitely learned their lesson after doing all of the architecture and city planning in Paris and England. When they came to the US, they were like, let's make this easy. We're just going to build everything on a fucking square. And it's block by block.
It makes it a lot easier to walk. It makes it a lot easier to drive. I'm still not sure if it makes it better for like buildings and doing stuff.
Yeah. I can see that for sure.
I don't know why my mind, like theoretically, it doesn't really make sense to me that it's not better for that. Because, we're giving you this guaranteed like square, like it's probably the largest space than like the random triangle that I'm thinking of, like the circle. Not that it's ever a circle, but like that kind of space. It's probably more area, but it's like less natural, and
You're not.
It's not easy to do stuff with. Like I feel like Central Park literally is I don't know how big it is, but like a whatever, like 2 mile by 1 mile rectangle.
Just
in the middle of the biggest metropolis in the world, basically. Like, yeah, it's great. And it would never disappear because it's Central Park. But what use is it really? I know it has a bunch of stuff in it. I know it's great. I know people love to look at it. It probably brings millions of people to come see it every year. But how many people come to New York anyway and go see other stuff? Probably most of them.
Yeah.
Like, what does it really bring? Nothing really. And it's a massive rectangle. It's such an awkward shape.
It doesn't flow well with anything. It's just a traffic barrier.
Essentially,
You're going to hit this and have to turn.
What film was it? It's was it Miracle on 34th Street? Where they have to like believe in Santa Claus for like his reindeer to fly.
Oh, that's Elf.
And is that Elf?
And the Elf.
When he crashes like Central Park, and then you get like those evil night riders. It's just like they're basically like ring wraiths, but not as bad. Like, we need to believe they're like chasing him like across Central Park.
That's a great movie. Will Ferrell.
Honestly, I think the first time I saw it, like all the way through, was probably like 3 years ago.
I mean, yeah, I can't blame you.
Like, it's a great film. But I said this on another podcast. There are basically no films I would just consistently watch and not get bored of.
Yeah. Rewatchability is definitely a hard, like...
Because if I rewatch them, I know exactly what's coming, which means it's not fun. I'll rewatch TV programs, like I'll rewatch Friends, but I don't watch it. I sit on my phone, I can hear the jokes coming, I quote them as they come up, and like watch part. Yeah, I watch part of it and laugh at the jokes I haven't remembered, and then they go back to whatever I'm doing. Films, if I've watched a film, because when I want to watch a film, I want to watch it.
Yeah, I like to.
I want to pay attention to it and notice everything that's happened. I don't want to be on my phone. And if I've chosen a film to watch that I haven't seen, I'm like, if I'm on my phone, I'm like, no, throw it over there, turn it face down, can't see any notifications. I want to watch this. It's new. Because otherwise, it's like a waste for me. I feel like.
The same way. I hate when people, you'll get into the beginning of a movie and they immediately start asking you questions. And it's like, I'm watching the same movie you are.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure out this just as soon as you are.
I hate that. So if I've watched a film before my family and they know I've watched it before, they're like, oh, does like so and so do this? I'm just like, I don't answer, like, just watch and see.
Yeah.
Like they're like, does this happen? And then when it happens, like, so it did happen. I was like, I purposely didn't say.
Questions.
Like you asked the questions, like I don't want to say because I don't want to ruin it.
It's gonna come.
Like it might not ruin it for you. Like you're adults. Like it's not like ruining a Christmas for a child.
Yeah.
But it's still just like, why would you do that? Like if this is the first time you've watched a film and it's a film you want to see, why would you ask about it to potentially ruin the plot?
Just take it in as it comes.
Yeah, just watch. And at the end be like, I thought this was going to happen, but it didn't.
You're supposed to know the end of the movie before you see it.
Like, my family does that a lot. I'm pretty sure I did it as when I was younger. Like, when I watch films and I know people are saying, I was like, there's something like, I know I used to talk between films and it probably must have been really annoying. And now I'm seeing it, I was like, it is really annoying. Like, if you're watching a film, watch. Like, watch it.
They know the questions you have. They're going to answer them.
Like they're
setting up the plot, so you have those questions.
I mean,
like,
very rarely do you come up with a question, that they haven't answered or they're not going to answer.
Yeah, and then if they do, it's not a great movie because that's just making plot holes. Like,
so me and my brother, I mean our whole family, like we used to listen to the Harry Potter audiobooks, like on long journeys and stuff. My brother, we're just going back through. We just finished the 7th, so I think at the moment it might be like the 3rd time in the year that he's gone through them. But it will come back through, and I was thinking like, what did J.K. Rowling like think about this? But stuff was like that we don't know the answer to. I'm just like asking questions like that we don't know. I was like, what did she think about like this? And at that point, like if you're asking questions like, actually, I don't know. Like we may never know. Like. I enjoy those questions, like questions that make you think that actually you have no idea, like you've never thought about before.
It can start a real discussion.
Yeah, like ones you've never really come across of like that point of view. I love those questions, but questions like, did they do this?
Yeah.
Watch the bloody film if you're watching it, because most of the time those questions get answered in the next 20 minutes.
Impatience, it's crazy.
It really is, though.
And that,
I must have been a terrible child because I know I did it. But now I'm just like, I'm watching with my family and I'm the youngest. And it's like, I've got my 50-something year old mum, my older, like my 26-year-old sister. It's like, does this happen? I was like, watch it. Just watch it.
I think that's part of like, the younger kids I feel like are going to be worse about it because they just have that like, need for instant gratification all the time. So they're not going to be patient enough to like get through movies. They're going to be like, what the fuck? I'm going to look up on Twitter what's going to happen before I go see this film.
Well, there's that. But I also think they would just sit and watch. And then after, because they just haven't, like they're not the generation to like read the books before it's happened. Like they're not going to read Lord of the Rings before they watch Lord of the Rings kind of thing. So they'd watch it and then be like, okay, so did this like actually happen in the book? And at that point, I don't mind.
Right.
Like if like you know that like I've never read The Hobbits or The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, so I don't know how true it is. I've spoken to Matt, the first guy I did the podcast with. He watches them every year, and I'm pretty sure he reads them every year. So it's like, so this part isn't true. I know what parts aren't true in The Hobbit. Like major part, like Toriel was a made up character. Right. Like, all that stuff. But, like, I don't know how... I think Lord of the Rings is mostly true. Hobbit got some made-up parts, but I know The Hobbit was a way smaller book, but they still made it into 3 films.
Yeah.
So, like, I know, like, those kind of parts, like... But I don't think the current child generation are going to be reading as much, as sad as that sounds.
No.
I really hope they are, but I feel like it's going to be more audiobook. It's going to be hearing learning.
And watching videos.
Yeah, hearing learning sounds really bad. Like audio learning, like type thing.
Yeah. It's crazy, like, their generation is like the kids probably younger, like born in the 2000s or later.
Like 2010 or later, I'm like thinking. Because
Yeah,
2000,
like,
my cousin was born in 2000, but she's now 19. Because it's 2019. Like,
I'm
2000 is old now.
What I was saying is, like, they're going to be a generation that wasn't brought up with, like, a scrapbook, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because
like, you weren't brought up with
and
cameras where you had to go and, like,
yeah,
get your film developed.
Those little things are, like, wild to me. Like, they're not... I mean, hopefully, the traditional pass on that people are still going to scrapbook and make physical things, but a lot of people probably won't just because they don't have to.
That's my...
Which is kind of weird to me.
Like, holding on thing for this generation is like, oh, yeah, like, we're kind of getting rid of essentially everything that's, like, physical.
Yeah,
it's
just data now.
The one thing that we're not getting rid of that is physical is working out. This generation, more than anything, is succumb to the Instagram, like, fitness, like, vibe, essentially. Like, our generation is, like, 16 to 24-year-olds now is the Instagram hype, let's go work out. That is that area. Like, we are the first area to, like, succumb to that. Like, we're going to go work out. I want to go do this workout. I've seen this girl do this on Instagram. I want to be able to do this pose. Like, we are the first generation to do that. And I'm kind of hoping, not necessarily that carry on like that, because not necessarily that's the best thing. This may not be the worst thing. Like, working out is a great thing. I'm not saying that's bad, but I don't want people to follow everything they see before research kind of thing.
Yeah, working out, it's like anybody thinks they can just jump into it.
Yeah.
Really.
And I mean, like, CSU Rec put pictures on, like, you know, the abductor machines, like, where you push out and pull out.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, do not try what you've seen on Instagram. Like, they literally posted that as, like, a text thing and stuck it on it. It was like, do not try this. It will not give you the benefits you think. I still don't know. I still see a lot of Instagram pages do that, and I don't know if it's true or not that it gives you more benefit or not. Like, the girls that, like, squat out of the seats and, like, do the, like, extend their legs outwards rather than, like, when they're standing rather than sat down. I don't know if it gives them anything extra, but I love the fact they seriously, like, don't follow the Instagram, like, photo, like, this isn't true. I mean, I trust them more. I haven't spoken to I don't physically know a high-end physiologist, I guess would be the best way to put it. Yeah. I don't know anyone. Like, my sister-in-law's a nutritionist, but she's a nutritionist. She doesn't know, like, I know more about her than exercise because I've been a track athlete at CSU for 1.5 years, and then before that I was working with international athletes for 4 years, and we had a number of coaches that are qualified and stuff. Like, I know more about that, like, physical exercise, but in, like, terms of diet and stuff, like, I know what comes across. But it's like, for that point, I don't know if it's good or not, like, if you do that or not. I just find it funny that I saw them post, like, oh yeah, don't try this.
It is. It's really interesting. Because you see, you see, like, Red Bull does this a lot, and they don't ever do a good job of, like, disclosing this, like, hey, you probably shouldn't try this, but they'll have people, like, doing exercises balancing on top of exercise balls. And they never do a good job of, like, hey, you probably shouldn't try this because you're going to bust your ass. So I guarantee people are out there, like...
Well, that was their, like, whole thing of, like, Red Bull gives you wings. So originally they spelled it WINGS. Then obviously people are like, oh, you can't spell it like that because people think it actually gives you wings. Like, you can get like, sued for that. So they changed it to double I. So they changed it to double I. I don't know what the argument was then, if someone already had that as a trademark or people still thought it was too susceptible. Changed it to triple I. And then that was fine for a while at, like, WIIINGS.
Right.
I think then that disappeared for a while and they just didn't do adverts for a while. And then they came back. And I think now it's 2 eyes, not 3 eyes. I don't know if they're in a court battle or what happened. But I think it's now 2 eyes again.
That's so crazy.
But it's just like, I mean, if you're dumb enough to think that Red Bull actually gives you wings if they spell it with 1 eye, you deserve to be like cut off the face of the earth. Like, you're dumb. Yeah. Like, just go crawl in a hole. Sounds horrible, but like, if you're dumb enough to think that, then yeah, go do that. Like,
that's like, it's crazy that when legal battles come down to like little things like that, like,
I was like,
you can't say Red Bull gives you wings.
The massive McDonald's one. Where she
want coffee.
Yeah.
It's like, well, obviously the coffee's hot.
Yeah.
Like I wanted a hot coffee.
Maybe not scolding, so I can understand like the scolding to not scolding. But the amount of money she won, specifically, it's not the amount of money she won. The amount of money she won that year, because it was in like the 90s, and she won 1 point something or multiple millions. I was like, you multiply that now to now, you basically just earn $1 billion off of those kind of like, it's ridiculous. But like the best, I mean, if you really enjoy listening to in-depth coaches who know what they're talking about, the best thing I've still heard in the last year, not just like 2019, but physically the last year back to 2018 January, TJ Dillashaw talking to Joe Rogan about he's his nutritionist, he's his recovery specialist, but he's also his weight coach and like strength and conditioning coach.
Right.
His name's Sam Calavita. TJ Dillashaw's most recent podcast with Joe Rogan was the MMA 57, I think it was, which literally came out like 2 days ago. I heard like the last podcast Dillashaw did, which was after the Cody Garbrandt fight, which must have been less than 6 months ago. Like he came on and spoke about like, yeah, I have this guy in my corner. The guy moved out to California. TJ moved with him because they were based in Colorado before. Right. The guy was, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, he was like a NASA scientist, like kind of guy. At least I just want to be a calculus teacher. So he's just like this calculus teacher. But he has this unbelievable brain. And what TJ basically says, like, yeah, he's created this program for me where he figures out exactly the supplements what I need is like a hair test. So like you can figure that out. It's expensive, but yeah, you can figure that out. It's like, yeah, he's like created this algorithm that calculates my sleep and rest and recovery working with this like company. And then he goes through and calculates exactly what I need to do like every day. Like, listening to like I need these supplements, I need this much rest, I need to go this hard on my like baseline cardio. Listening, it's just like, yeah, I kind of like, I'm not working towards anything.
Right.
I don't have, like, I'm not running a marathon this year. I don't want to be world champion at UFC. I don't want to be 6% body fat, like something ridiculous, like a goal to work towards. But like listening was like, I just want to work with him because I want to know what he knows and try and take some of it in so I can like listen to it. It's just like unreal. So if you're interested in fitness stuff, go listen to that podcast. He just talking about it's just like he doesn't give everything away. The one before this was like teacher's like, yeah, I kind of know some of it, don't really know all of it. This was like, it's taken me like 2 years and I'm starting to take like the basics in, like I can kind of understand it. And it's just like it's on a different level because Dillashaw was he's a champion at 135.
Yep.
The most recent fight was at 125 pounds. It was a 12 Henry Cejudo.
Cejudo, yeah.
125.
Yep.
So it was a 12-week plan. He was walking at like 5 to 6% body fat. He was at like 135 before, like the night before. He was I think he said he was like 1.3 pounds the night before, like when he went to sleep, like before weigh-in. And like his San Calavito, whatever, he knew where he was going to wake up. He knew what he needed to do, like how much water intake, like what everything. Like walked out. He walked in the ring at 149. He was like, I've never felt better in my life. Like in the podcast, he's like, I've never felt better, stronger. Like the things I was doing in the gym, everything. It's like I didn't feel bloated. He put on 24 pounds basically in less than or in 24 hours. And he was like, I felt the best I've ever. I wasn't bloated. I wasn't like overhydrated. I was like a glycogen battery, I think is the word he used. Like, it's like I was ready to go. And I mean, as everyone said, like, I think Dana White's come out and said it was controversial. Like, they shouldn't have stopped. Not controversial, but yeah, it was an early stopptage. Like, Herb Dean said that was early stoppage. Like, everyone's basically come out and said, like, yeah, that was probably too early. So he wants a rematch. And he was like, I'll fight you 135. Don't care. Yeah. I'll fight you at 125 and I'll put on my 135 belt. I don't care. I just want to prove that I can fight at 125. Because one, I feel like I've let myself down because I didn't show what I've been through, like what I can do at that weight. But also, I feel like I've let Sam down because he got me down to this weight and I feel so good. And I haven't been able to show anything because he got stopped in 45 seconds, whatever it was. Just like, just let me. He just wants to prove.
It just looked like he Dillashaw lost his footing for a second.
Well, yeah. So he went over. It's like he basically says like if you've ever fought and you get clipped behind the ear, which well, they were standing, so it's legal. Like if you get clipped behind the ear, like on the back of the head, you basically lose your balance. You're completely there. Like you haven't lost like consciousness. Like you're completely there, but you lose your balance. Your legs go under. And apparently, he was like the judge or whatever was like, show me something. It's like I'm ready. I'm like good to go. Like he shouted that apparently, and then like 10 seconds later he stopped it. It was like, but Dillashaw was like, I saw him jumping around like when like action happened. Like he didn't think he was like qualified for it, like as a ref, like for such a high profile fight and stuff. So like, there's stuff like that. And I mean, everyone's basically come out and said like it was probably an early stoppage. Whether or not that Cejudo would have stopped him in another minute's time, who knows? Like you don't know because he got stopped there early. But everyone's just like, yeah, it was probably like too early. It shouldn't have been like that. But he's like, I just feel bad because I put so much work in. I stuck to this program and I didn't prove what Sam had done to me. Like walking around like 5% body fat, like for like 12 weeks, basically like cut down. Like listen to that podcast. Like I listened to the first one after the Gore Friend. I was like, sounds incredible because that's when he was still based in Galway. Then they moved out to LA and it's just like, I mean, he's gone into more detail now because he understands more. I'm just like, I don't care, don't have anything to work towards, just want to like work with him,
right?
But he's like, yeah, he doesn't take on everyone. Like he won't take on everyone. If you fit his style and fit what you want or what he wants to do with people, like yeah, he might take you on. But like you have to fit his style to go on. I was like, I just want to work. I just want to see what he would say.
Yeah.
I want to know. There's too much science for me not
just to ask him some questions. Honestly,
like because he has an online program. I think it's called thetraininglab.com. And I think he does stuff like you can send in tests and stuff. But it's just like I just want to know more than that. Like I want to be on that. Like I want you to watch my heart rhythm overnight and tell me how recovered I am in the morning.
Right.
Like the closest...
There's so much that goes into your body.
The closest like athletic band, I guess you can call it. Like the one that like watches your heart rate and stuff. The best one that I've seen that isn't like custom made is currently called Whoop. And it's been approved by the MLB for like pitchers and stuff and players to wear in the MLB.
Okay.
Like supposedly NBA players, a couple of NBA players like wear under their like wristbands to like hide it like during games and stuff so people can watch. Like I think like the three main things it tells you like recovery, how torn you are, and like how much like you pushed, like basically like that kind of those things. Rather than like, oh, you've done this many steps or like you've covered this many distance or like you've burned this many calories like the Apple Watch and stuff. Kind of tells you like your body needs a rest. Kind of like that. Like, it's on that level. And it's like, I really want it. And it's a subscription-based model now that I found out. I don't earn the money to pay for it. It's not expensive. I think it's like the cheapest one's like $18 a month or something.
That's not terrible.
No, like because it used to be like a $500. You buy the bracelet and then you're in the program. Right. They now change it to a monthly thing. So if like you pay for the really cheapest one, you can pay so and so up front, $300 something up front. But then it works out to be like $18 a month rather than $30 a month for the next 2 years or something. So it's different. I was like, I really want to try it just because I want to know when I need to rest because I know I'm bad at that. I know I probably have overtrained in my life or I probably undertrained. Like I didn't work out today because I was like, you know what? I'm coming to Boulder. I'm going to have a good night. I can't really be bothered.
I don't want to be sober.
Yeah. Like, I want to go do this. And it's like, I want to know what, am I pushing myself? Am I not? And most watches don't tell you that. And I found that, and like, listening to this podcast, it's like, that's the stuff that interests me. I want to know about the deep science. I want to know about deep space with Brian Cox, who was just on with Joe Rogan, or which, if you haven't listened to that, go listen. If you're at all interested in space, and they talk about colonizing Mars, like black holes, the particle accelerators, like,
theoretical.
Does God have a place in the Big Bang Theory? Basically, they talk about anything, and it's only 2 hours and like 20 minutes. I haven't listened to all of it, but I've gone through a couple of the highlights and I listened to like 40 minutes of it straight. It's just like, if you want to listen to stuff that, I mean, the Neil deGrasse Tyson one's ridiculous. The Elon Musk one, terrifying, because he's might be a robot. He's ridiculously intelligent from what I can tell, and it's unreal. I'm not surprised having seen what he's done.
Right.
But he's ridiculous.
I can't believe people criticize him for all of that.
Of course they do. People criticize anything of everything.
He got in like some legal trouble for that podcast.
Oh.
That's interesting.
Oh, what, the smoking weed? He got in more legal trouble for tweeting out that like he had secured like funding to send them private. And then he had to step down as the CEO or whatever.
Right.
That was ridiculous. I mean, I'm sure, like, legal, like, I'm sure he doesn't care. He earns enough money. Wait, how much have you been to Fort Collins?
I live there. That's where I live.
Oh, so you know the kitchen?
Yeah.
So his brother owns that. Kimball Musk owns the kitchen, which didn't start in Fort Collins. I'm pretty sure it started here in Boulder.
Yeah.
And he came to speak at CSU. I was in college business. He came to speak. So he came to speak. I'm pretty sure it started in Boulder. Like, he owns the kitchen like franchise, and he owns a bunch of other stuff. I'm pretty sure one of the questions that someone asked was like, so like, how much help do you get from your brother? I was like, I mean, I might talk to him about some business stuff, like financial and everything. Like, I'm on my own. I mean, he's not poor by any means, but I mean, business help from Elon Musk. I'm like, yeah, sign me up for that. I will come with the crappy ass idea, pitch it to him, and he would like, oh no, just do this instead.
Right.
Like, just give you the right idea that will make you millions. It's just like ridiculous. He's, as Joe Rogan said, if there was one person who was put on this earth that was an alien to like try and help us advance,
Elon Musk.
It's probably him. I don't think the mics will pick that up. There's just a really squeaky noise outside, and we both were just like frozen listening to it outside of the house. Oh, that truck's finally moving. Well, at this point, it's 3:54 a.m.
We've had a pretty good talk.
I was going to say, it's probably a good time to end this. So as always, not that anyone feels like it, but if you want to promote the podcast, please feel free. If you want to come onto the podcast, please let me know. As proven by this podcast, I'll take anyone, impromptu moments, drunk, sober, anything. We'll just drink and we'll have a good time. And
Conversation.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. Cocktails, conversation over cocktails. Or in this case, it was just beer after cocktails. But as always,